Hey folks, it's DJ, aka the Bearded Bass Man here. And today I'd like to do kind of a combination video, if you will. A review, description, product comparison type video. And the products that I'll be going over are actually made by a company that I'm currently an active team member with. Now I know what you're saying. The only reason I'm making this video is because, well, I'm associated with the company. And to some degree you'd be right. But also working with this company, I've come to feel that the company not only solidifies what it means to not only be a bass angler, but an angler in general. Their products definitely reflect that. Now, the company I'm talking about is Rocky Brook Sinker Company. Rocky Brook has been around for quite some time. They're actually a local company. They're operated out of Morgantown, West Virginia, which is about 25-30 minutes from here. They're owned and operated by Brooke and Stephanie Polly, which are tremendous people to work with. Now, they don't just accommodate bass fishermen. They make gear for walleye, trout, catfish, carp, bluegill, crappie, you name it. They definitely have some sort of niche in their product lineup to fill that sort of fish. They make everything and deal with everything from hooks to swivels, bobbers, bobber stops, jigs. You name it, they probably have it in their lineup. But of course, their bread and butter is, as their name would reflect, sinkers. Not just any sinkers, but those kind of sinkers right there. That right there is a limestone sinker. Now I know what you're thinking, limestone. Why is that any different than lead or tungsten or any other kind of material I could use for my sinkers? Well, that's what we're going to go over today. I'm sure that a lot of you have used alternate material sinkers, whether it be tungsten or steel, or I'm sure there's a few other type of materials out there that people have taken effect into, but we're going to talk about the effects of limestone. I've actually broken them down into 4 characteristics of this sinker that I think maybe not the most important to everybody, but definitely the most important and what I think the characteristics are to me. The first one being, of course, they're non-toxic. They're all natural. They're made out of limestone, just as any other rock you may pick up off the ground. That comes into play really big with anglers who either fish areas where lead is not allowed, or maybe they just need something that gives them an extra little edge, something the fish maybe haven't seen before. Now, I know what you're saying. You might be saying, it's lead. What's the difference? Let's face it. We're going to lose sinkers, whether it be they fall out of our boat, out of our vest, we hang up and snag off, break off, or maybe the fish just takes off, breaks your line, sinker's gone. Give it a thought for a second, if you will, that lead sinker going into our waterways. Now, while it just may be a small amount of lead, it's still a lead that will eventually produce toxic contaminants. Whereas a limestone weight like this, it's a rock. Literally, it's just a rock. It'd be no different than if you went to the quarry, plucked it out of the ground, tossed it in yourself. Same difference. Mother Nature will reclaim what's hers. In 2 days, it's going to be exactly the same as it was sitting in that quarry. The second characteristic I would like to go across is, look at that thing. Its basic shape makes it maybe not 100% snag proof, but it's very hard to snag. Maybe not impossible, darn near. The actual shape of them, they're kind of, they're definitely not cylindrical, they're not square, they're not round. And when these things are ticking along the bottom, or you're dragging along the bottom, or they're floating down the stream, they tend to just kind of wash over those pickups, whether it be a snag in the rock or big chunks in chunk rock. They just tend to glide right over top of them, whereas a lead weight or a bullet weight snags up in those crevices and you're hung. These, the size of them, because they are fairly large for their weight, just trickle right down the stream. Now, the third characteristic I would like to go over is movement. That's right, I'm talking about a sinker and its movement. Now, if you take a really good look at that and notice that no 2 limestone sinkers are exactly the same. They're kind of like snowflakes. They all have different characteristics. Why does that translate to movement? It might be beneficial for us fishermen. If you're dragging a sinker let's say around chunk rock or big pieces of rock, or maybe you're just dragging it behind your boat trolling, the deflection that the water actually has on that sinker will produce an erratic, almost fluttering type of movement. And what that does is it translates through the sinker, up the line, through your hook, into your bait, and gives your bait almost a fluttering reaction. That's definitely going to help us bass anglers out when we're looking for that reaction strike. Say if we're dragging a Carolina rig or maybe a drop shot across some hard bedrock. Every time it rolls and tumbles, it's going to make that bait act that much more erratic, which translates into bites. Now the fourth one we're going to talk about is sound. That's right, sound. Now we as bass fishermen know that bass, just like every other predatory fish, are attracted to the sounds that their forage makes. Whether that be the sound of a school of bait fish congregating together, or maybe a wounded minnow, to what sinkers, jigs, and some other lures are made to sound like, which are crayfish. Crayfish make a ticking, clicking, tapping sound as they scamper across rocks, whether it be to attract females or just evading a predator. They make a very distinctive ticking sound, which most baits are made to imitate. Now we all know what sound sounds like out of water. Now as you can hear, that is a very loud tick. Of course we're not in water. Think for a second, if you will, the sounds that things make in the water. What that actually translates into is a more vibrant, radiating noise compared to what you might hear on land. Sound actually is 5 times louder in the water than it is out of the water. What that means for you is, if you can hear this from 5 feet away, in the water, that's maybe 25 or 35 feet of clearance that some fish may be able to hear your lure bouncing or ticking across some rocks. Now for the test, what I have here is a normal half-ounce limestone Rocky Brook sinker. And to test against is a normal half-ounce lead egg sinker. Now while the size comparison is noticeable, as I said, this right here is going to help with that snagging issue, we're going to test to see if one actually has a benefit over the other as far as noise making. Now I won't jump into the erratic action or something like that. If you want to get a good perspective on that, definitely check out Rocky Brook's YouTube page, where they do a wonderful comparison video and show you what this actually does in a tank of water. When I was coming up with this test, I thought to myself, you know, we could easily fill up a bathtub or get a bowl of water, and I could plink these all day. But let's face it, we don't fish in bathtubs, we sure don't fish in bowls, we fish in rivers and lakes and streams, just like this one here behind me. So what I've done is set an underwater camera up, and we're going to see just how much noise both of these sinkers make. They're both threaded on the same kind of line, the same knot. The only difference is Rocky Brook, normal lead sinker. Let the comparison begin. Now as you can hear with the lead weight, there's not really much more than a thud when it comes in contact with the rock. There's no ticking or clicking sound really to be heard other than when the brass eyelet comes in contact with the rock. Now this camera is set up about 16 inches away from that rock that I'm hitting, and as you can tell, that sound's really not going to emulate much more off that rock than you're already hearing. Now you can definitely tell the night and day difference with the limestone sinker. That ticking, clicking, tapping sound is very prevalent, even when I drag it on and off the side of the rock. That sound is definitely going to radiate off that rock, away from that lure, and to any fish that may not otherwise know that bait's even there. Now, along with the limestone sinkers, Rocky Brook also produces these little gems. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's a big honking flipping weight. In actuality, that is a 1/4 ounce marble bullet weight. That's right, folks, you heard me right, marble. Now, along with the limestone, as you heard in our underwater test, limestone being a lot louder than lead, these little beauties right here are sound cannons underwater. They are far louder than the limestone sinkers and way louder than lead. They are a little bit bigger, they're bulky, they're a lot larger than, say, a tungsten weight, but the sound that you get out of these is incredible. It's actually unrivaled even for the limestone sinkers. The way they're shaped, not only cylindrical, you can also use these in Carolina rigs, dragging baits across hard rock bottoms or chunk rock or something along that. These definitely have a niche in everybody's toolbox. I definitely recommend you check these little babies out too. Well, folks, I hope you liked the video today. I hope you liked the comparison as far as the underwater sounds and visual aspect goes of it. If you'd like to see a little bit more as far as I said, the action that they produce, I definitely urge you to go by Rocky Brook's YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description down below. Give that a look because it's a very informative video. He actually goes in depth to explain the ins and outs a little more as far as the sinker process goes and what it can do for you as far as a myriad of species, not just bass. I'll also put the link to their website in the description down below. Definitely give it a look. They sell a ton of gear. They sell several different kits for bass, trout, panfish. Their store never ends. You can also check out Cabela's.com, as Cabela is a retailer of Rocky Brook, and get a small piece of what they may offer, but I urge you to go check out the website and just see exactly what kind of products they're putting out. Keep in mind that these sinkers are not only hand-picked, they're hand-drilled, they're hand-glued, they're hand-packaged, all of them handmade. Trust me, folks, I've seen the drill bits. Definitely give them a look. Maybe they can offer something that you need, absolutely have in your tackle box. As always, like my videos. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And once again, I'm the Bearded Bassman saying, thanks for watching.